International Association from Brussels, Belgium, and it's part of the Annalink Foundation Virtual Marathon. Is this cycle of sessions and online activities organized by the Annalink Foundation for 42 days that represent the 42 countries part of the network. And today, yeah, we organized this very interesting interactive session, so we are very excited to start. But before that, let's give a round of presentation to all our dear participants. So I would like to start with Ferhat. If you can just introduce yourself, just your name, where you're from. And it's also a good way to try our audio and microphone. Okay, so Ferhat, maybe the first one, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ferhat, and I'm from Turkey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we proceed with Gabriele.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gabriele, and I'm from Italy.
Welcome. Thank you. Burcu, can you be next one, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm Burcu. I'm Turkish. I live in Ankara.
Welcome. Thank you. Then we have a couple, Esmeralda and Lavinia.
Hello, I'm Lavinia and I'm from Romania. Hello, Esmeralda from Turkey, from Albania, but connected from Turkey.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nejat Salam, welcome.
Hello, everybody. I am Nejat from Turkey, and also I am Vice President of SNG Brussels. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you very much. And then we proceed with Mr. Gurkan Akçayır.
Good afternoon. Gürkan, representing SNG Brussels, SNG International Brussels, and wishing you a good virtual marathon activity today.
Thank you very much. And we proceed with Tamara and Lorenzo. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Tamara and I'm from Spain.
Hello, here is Lorenzo from Italy. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much. And we give the floor to Ikram.
Hi, my name is Ikram and I'm from Spain.
Welcome. Francesca.
Hi, everyone. I'm Francesca from Italy. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks to you for being here. And Mustaf, welcome.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Mustaf from North Macedonia, but I'm connected from Spain.
Welcome. Which city of Spain?
Granada.
Granada, okay. Then Hilal just texted us. She's our follower, our associate. She's from Germany, but now she cannot speak. Anyway, she say greetings and greetings to all of us. Then we might proceed with Bilal.
Oh, hello everyone. I am Muhammad Bilal Latif and I am from Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have Tomer. Welcome, Tomer.
Hi, I'm Tomer from Israel. Sorry, my camera doesn't work.
No problem. Thank you very much for being here. And I think last but not least, Begum, welcome.
Hello, my name is Begum.
From?
I'm from Turkey.
Okay, welcome. And thank you very much for being here. Okay, so we are ready to start. I would just like to give an overview for this project. So we decided to apply for this project because it's widely reported that since the start of the pandemic, the migrant population living in Belgium, but also in many other countries, there are reports from actually all over the world, reported increased episode of racism, of discrimination, of intolerance, xenophobia, episodes of violence, racism, and increase of prejudices. So the pandemic really had a bad negative effect on the migrants especially. So we're not speaking about migrants who were coming after the starting of the pandemic, so that they were moving, but we're speaking about people that were already living since long time in Belgium and in the other countries. Even some citizens that actually are originally from Belgium, but that has roots of migrants, for example, from the grandparents. So citizens who are actually born and raised in Belgium, but that they have some migrants roots, also reported increased cases of discrimination, intolerance, and violence, and so on. So what we would like to do with this activity is to display some interviews that we have made thanks to the support of Skylive TV that from Brussels, that they helped us realizing these very nice professional interviews with some migrants. We would like to display so their experience. They will share, their experience, their report, how their lives changed since the start of the pandemic, and so on. And also after that, we would like to offer a possible counter narrative. Okay, so because in fact there are no statistics that shows that the migrants are more responsible. So the migrants who are already living in Belgium and in the other countries, that they are more responsible for the spread of the COVID. So it's a negative common sense that is not really scientifically based. Okay, so actually research sometimes show the opposite, that sometimes in the migrant population, the COVID pandemic, the COVID cases are even lower than the autochthonous population. Just for the first 5 minutes, I would like to show just some, by sharing my screen, some of the many reports and cases that have been displayed by different authorities and resources. So the first one is just a very long list of published by Wikipedia of xenophobia and racism related to the COVID-19 pandemic. So Wikipedia report the increase of xenophobia and prejudices since the start of the pandemic in all the countries all over the world, and in all the countries there are specific problems, but it's Wikipedia report how the situation in Belgium is particularly severe, because Belgium has a population where the migrants are in high percentage, let's say. So they were, particularly in Belgium, they were often targeted as the scapegoat of the pandemic. So the one to whom put the blame, let's say. As we can see from my screen, for example, the Turkish community living in Belgium really suffer, let's say, from this negative impact of the pandemic. And they were, as you might read in the subtitles, they were often targeted as a scapegoat, and they face many more episodes of discrimination and intolerance since the start of the pandemic. And so, as you know, because the Turkish community is quite wide in Belgium, also there are from many sources we found many cases of increased racism. So as you can see, Belgians with Asian roots. So actually here we are speaking about people that were born in Belgium but with Asian roots reported increased racism aimed coronavirus fear. So since the start of the pandemic, they face many more episodes. So we have some experiences shared here. This man say, I'm Chinese, but I'm not a virus. I know everyone is afraid of the virus, but no prejudices against us, and so on. We can see other sources, so many also episodes of violence, men attacked, accused of causing coronavirus in Belgium. As you can see from the subtitle, a man of Asian origin was assaulted Saturday in Brussels by an individual accusing of being the cause of the spread of the coronavirus in Belgium. And there are many, really many cases like that. So reported by many different sources. Also, as I was saying, not only in Belgium, but all over Europe and all over the world. I have some other articles here, but okay, I guess you got the main idea. I have one from Latin America, COVID-19 and the immigrants increased exclusion. So there is a higher, there is a problem for an increase of social exclusions toward the migrants, and so on. Okay, so this again is a situation. The pandemic, as we all know, it was spread worldwide. It was really a democratic virus that do not know any borders, let's say, do not know, despite the social condition, the education whatsoever of every individual, it was really spreading so fast and so quickly, no matter the different characteristics of the people, no matter the countries. So again, we thought we should have this event to try to tackle this to try to tackle, let's say, this narrative that wants to target the migrants as the main one to blame in Belgium and in other countries as the one that are spreading the COVID pandemic. Okay, so I would like to leave the floor now, before starting with displaying the interviews, that our dear Gabriele, Ikram, and Ferhat will moderate. They will help us moderate and understanding, because the interviews are realized in French, in the French language. But I would like to ask, first of all, giving the floor to my colleague Esmeralda. Also, she would like to share some inputs with us.
Hello again. Thank you, Jacopo, for the information shared. It's really helpful, actually, to understand the situation, the unfortunate situation, I would say. And actually, thinking about migration and migrants in the situation of the pandemic, I would place migrants on the other side of the segment, let's say, because if the society is blaming them or discriminating or pointing the fingers at them as the ones mostly spreading the pandemic and the virus and so on, I would give some other arguments that would make us more reflect on, rather than discriminating, being on the side of the migrants. This one of the facts that I would like to point out is the fact that migrants throughout the whole period of the pandemic have been on the forefront, let's say, and mostly exposed, not because they want, but they are obliged to. Why is that? Because in general, migrants work in those sectors of the economy that even when there was complete lockdown and full restrictions, let's say, all over the world, there were sectors that they were still working to provide the minimum, let's say, services to the population, such as food production, healthcare, or agriculture. So migrants were all the time working to provide these services. So they were not exposed because they are not caring, or they are, like, let's say, the ones who are aiming to spread the virus, but because they were obliged to. So rather than discriminating them, we should be thankful for what they have been doing through this time. Another point that we were discussing also with Lavinia is the fact that in general, and we know for sure, it's a fact that even to be part of the vaccination scheme, migrants are at the end of the list. So even they are starting with the ones who are the teachers, healthcare givers, and then the population that is above 65 now will start above 45, 46. and then it will be the rest of the population, and migrants are nowhere in the list. So even for this is they are still being discriminated, and it's not fair, let's say, because if they are living in a certain country, they should have the same access to the vaccination scheme like the rest of the population. So this is also another point that we should take care of and also reflect. And another point that to me it's a bit controversial, let's say, and a bit the opposite phenomena of what we are facing, that on the other side, on one side we blame or we point fingers at migrants that they are the ones spreading the virus and so on, and on the other side the political schemes or the schemes that the governmental are putting in place when it comes to allowing tourists or putting zero restrictions to tourists. It's a bit controversial to me because tourists are the ones who travel a lot, and they are mostly exposed to the virus, let's say, because they are traveling in other countries, meeting a lot of people. Airports are full of people who travel from all over the world. So on one side we discriminate migrants for being the ones spreading the virus, who probably they have been living in that place, as you say, for the Turkish community in Belgium for all their lives, but still they are discriminated. While tourists traveling everywhere, we give facilities to them, while also because when you are a tourist and you are traveling for fun. But migrants usually they don't travel for fun. They travel because they are in need, or even the ones who are living in the given country, still they are trying to make a living. So why we have to discriminate migrants and give facilities to tourists during the pandemic? So it's a bit controversial to me. So we should reflect on this point as well. And yeah, actually it's a pity to see. Of what I've also noticed is that the whole social structure of the society all over the world has changed, and we see more and more aggressive behaviors towards each other in the street, everywhere. Like even we are not sensitive to others like we used to do. Even if we are waiting the queue somewhere, it's most likely all the time to find some confrontations between people because of this situation. Like, don't come close to me because of the pandemic. Don't do this. Don't do that. Like, people are, even sometimes I find it as an excuse for people just to react in a certain way. But we should be more careful in our actions, that because if we say something now, then some other persons can reinforce what we say, and then this becomes a chain, and then in overall we create and we fuel discrimination towards other people. So this is what I wanted to share for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esmeralda. In fact, you brought many important points to the table, and yeah, I also would underline what you have said, that is also validated by many researchers, that actually many migrants were not protected their rights, and despite the fact that in fact many of them were still serving the countries in which they were hosted. And in many cases, there are countries like Belgium or like Italy, where many health workers actually are migrants, and they were working so much under the pandemic to support the autochthonous and the migrant population of the country. So I was reading, for example, in Belgium and in Italy, many nurses are from Romania, actually. So they are a migrant community that is working in the healthcare, that were the most exposed to the COVID because they were working in the healthcare, but also which the rights were not protected. And on the contrary, as it was easily expected, many right-wing parties try to manipulate and to use this propaganda, to point the fingers towards the migrants, to close the borders, and to increase a bit the feeling of xenophobia in the autochthonous population. Even I was sharing now when you were speaking the screen from the World Health Organization, and there is a very important interviews to an Italian doctor, Severini, that he was saying now it's very easy to point the fingers at the migrants, and he predicted that they will be the one blamed worldwide, let's say, for the spread in every country, let's say in every specific context for the spreading of the pandemic. But in fact, also this doctor, I need to check the name. I think Severini. I don't want to say wrong. Meanwhile, I speak, I will check. But in fact, he said there are really Severoni, sorry, Santino Severoni, that is a director of the World Health Organization Global Health and Migration section. And he said we don't have any scientific research that validate this. That the migrants living in a country are, have spread more, are more responsible, and so on. So this is really something that we should try to eradicate from the mindset of the people. Okay, and now let's thank you once again for this contribution. Let's go to our speakers, our moderators. So I will give the floor, let's say, approximately 10 minutes to each of them, which are Ferhat, Gabriele, and Ikram. They analyze the interviews made by Sky Live TV from Brussels, and they will give an overview, let's say, of what the migrants. I would like first of all to ask them to share who are these people interview, and they will provide us the main points brought up from the interviews related to the rise of discrimination since the start of the pandemic. Again, this is because the interviews are in French, but I'm afraid not all of us are French speakers. So we request their mediation and support. So we may start with Ferhat, please. And please feel free to share your screen and to display part of the interviews.
Thank you, Jacopo. Hi again. Now I'm going to show you the video of Abu Bakar. Unfortunately, there is no subtitles, so I will translate a bit. And actually, I will summarize what he wants to say, what he was faced, what he was witnessed. So. Here they ask him about the situation of illegal workers, worker with no contract. So let's listen for a while. He's saying that when people working with illegal situation, like without any contract, and when the boss, when they fire them during coronavirus or even before, they can't apply anywhere for the.
Sorry for that. May I just kindly request, can you tell us where is this? Maybe I lost if you say where is this gentleman from originally?
Actually, I couldn't understand. He said that he's from. He says he was born in Sakarbi. I don't know where is this. Bro, he is mentioning about a city that I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't know where it is.
Okay, and living in Belgium since many years.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And should I show the parts of video or just mention what he wants to say?
If you want, like, summarize the main points, it will be better. If you have just some short part that you want particularly to underline, otherwise just by voice, by your summary would be okay.
He also says that the locals in Belgium, the real Belgians, when they hear his name, because his name is Abu Bakar, when they hear his name, even though he has Belgian passport and he was born in Belgium, they still discriminate him because of his name, because he's Muslim, he's not original Belgian. And he said that he once witnessed with a hate speech. Someone told them that their skin colors look like monkeys because they are not white. And yeah, and I took some more notes about the important points. I can actually show this, I think. At 9:38, he says that okay, let's wait. Here he wants, yeah, I couldn't find the exact time, but he says the Muslims, he's giving example of France, because nowadays the media of France have really pressure on Muslims. They make black advertisements on Muslim people, and he says that today's Muslims in France live like Jews under Nazi occupation or before World War II in Europe, because they have the same condition. They are humiliated, they are discriminated. And the journalist asks him how to avoid from discrimination or racism in Belgium. And he says that to avoid from racism, even as a migrant or the real Belge, he's saying that you should be smart and you shouldn't blame someone, or you shouldn't believe what people say before finding a real and acceptable reasons. Even there's a crime, you should go on it and learn for the truth. And he says that thanks to social media, the last point, he says that thanks to social media, nowadays people can see what's really going on in Belgium or in other parts of Europe, if it's about racism, and they can raise a voice against it, so they can have more supporters against racism today compared to previous years. Thank you.
And thank you very much, dear Ferhat, for your moderation. So I would like also to, just one moment before we pass to our next speaker. Okay, I want also to show you our visual of human of today's event. Okay, we can proceed with Gabriele. So Gabriele, if you can bring on the floor the next person interviewed by Sky Live TV.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I will just share the screen 1 second, because I will show you also the person that I will speak about of his interview, that actually I found really, really interesting. Just 1 second. How can I do? I'm not so technological.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, thank you so much. So I found really interesting this interview, because this person that now I will present speaks about his story and the situation of Belgium, the racism in Belgium, especially against the Moroccan community that is part of, and leading till the now situation of coronavirus. First of all, this man is Mohamed Alul. He's 52 years old and is living in Belgium since when he's really young. He's a professionist, he's an expert in brand line. So basically he's working with multinational companies about the media part. And also in 1998, he founded a really important, really now famous magazine, Men, that is really famous, especially in Belgium. So this Man starts speaking as the fact that it's, in his opinion, really difficult to estimate the racism and how this can change also due to different period. But he underlined that is aware from his personal story from the past, it happening in Belgium, especially in the poorest part of the cities. So it's speaking about the racism as a phenomenon that it's less present in the richest part of the city. So as a phenomenon really related with the economical power. And about this, he underlined how since the beginning of the pandemic, the cases that he feels that he is listening about in the media and also speaking with the people in the contact, the normal communication, he feels a really strong increasing of this kind of episodes. Speaking about his personal story, he underlined as is the case of racism that he lives in his life are more related to the street life, to the normal life in the interaction with people than the professional life. And especially is speaking about the Moroccan community that in the past had a lot of discrimination, now less. I will go to this point later. And is start to speak about a personal episode that really affected him. When he was a young but worker, during a control that was a practice, was something really common among migrants, a police hit the mother. What happened after that? The people, the young of the neighbors start a revolt. And when other police came and asked him the documents and he showed the card that he was a journalist, he said they changed completely. In that moment, I was not anymore the migrant, but I was a person with a kind of dignity. And he says, this episode really changed my way of seeing this phenomenon. And again, speaking about the Moroccan community in Belgium, is underlined how in the years the racism is decreased, also because they are now really integrated in the labor market. So he start to speak about the fact that what happened, the people start to maybe meet a doctor, a professor, a teacher, a lawyer, and so goes to destroy that label, that stereotype. And this here I want just to show a few seconds because saying something that I really like. Sorry, just one. Okay.
Gabri, may I ask you, please, if you can put in full screen as well?
Ah, yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I was not thinking.
Thank you. Show us some, let us listen a bit.
But is okay.
Thank you.
C'est quoi? C'est des préjugés qui sont
que des préjugés
simplistes,
très simplistes, très simplistes. Quand on rencontre
qui est du quoi très concrètement, c'est le fait qu'on ne
même...
connaît pas l'autre, on a peur de l'autre.
On ne connaît pas l'autre, on a peur de l'autre. Mais dès qu'ils nous connaissent, nous en tant qu'étrangers, ça change complètement d'avis.
Okay, I wanted to share you these few seconds because it touched a part really important of the phenomenon of racism. As a point is saying that in the racism is, in this case, the prejudice is when we don't know something, when we are not able to understand something. And so what happened? We are scared, we are not able to, and so our mind works with the idea that we have, with the stereotype, with the prejudice. And related to this, after start to speak about a really interesting aspect about the fact of the hip hop dance and the diffusion in Belgium after in the 80s as something that unified the people. He was saying in that moment when that also in the beginning in Belgium, a lot of people were against this new kind of dance, this foreigner dance. But this became something that unified the people. He said, in that moment, we were not anymore Albanian, Moroccan, Spanish, he's saying, Belgian. We were just people interested in the dance. And again, here, he started to speak about the importance, like in the Belgium, that has a really strong economy, is a multicultural country, as a sociological experiment of a new kind of model of trying to overcome the racism. Related to this is not just, it also show us the fact that often, and especially this has been increased with the pandemic, the lack related to the education, the kind of trend sometimes to create for migrants some ghettos that we need instead of politics and institutions that help to the integration, because it's really speaking a lot about of the education as a point of the development of the individual. And is finishing is a really nice interview with something from, again, from his life. He was coming from a really not well-known part of Bruxelles. He didn't have a lot of opportunity, and he speaks about his professor that notices the way that he was drawing, and so start to support him, to advise him. And with the support of this teacher, after he started, he went to an important academy, and he saying this was the start a new life, because after I developed myself as a professional, as an individual, as a man. And that's all from my part, but I want to underline, I really find this interview interesting, because he was really lucid in explain a lot of really interesting points, especially the fact that the education, the find to have the same opportunity, especially in a moment where with the pandemics, where it's difficult for everyone, and sometimes for the person that have maybe some difficult more, it's still more difficult. So that's all from my part. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gabriele. Thanks a lot. Do you want maybe just to share 1 minute this part you were mentioning at the end, like how the professor helped him developing professionally? Maybe.
Let's see. Yeah. Wait. Okay, here was speaking. Just a second, I need to find.
Est-ce que Bruxelles va être se fait en Belgique, où on découvre tout et l'avenir se mélange. Il n'y a plus de, entre guillemets, belge. Votre tête dans votre esprit. Vivre ensemble, c'est quand on ne distingue pas le pauvre du riche, le blanc du jaune du black.
C'est la meilleure manière de lutter contre le racisme.
Ben oui, c'est quand.
Can you put full screen, please? Thank you.
Et pour gagner, il faut vraiment que les politiques nous aident aussi, parce que ça ne vient pas que des quartiers défavorisés. ghettoiser les gens dans des quartiers, c'est ce qu'il y a de plus pire. Ça, il faut vraiment arrêter. Qu'est-ce que vous entendez par ghettoiser?
Non riesco.
Écoutez, moi, comme je vous
Sorry.
l'ai dit, je viens de la place.
Allora, metti le due freccette.
Ah, scusate, mi sono sbagliato.
Ok, no, no problem. Ok.
J'ai eu la chance Anderlecht, voilà. J'ai grandi là, je suis né en Anvers. Et j'ai eu la chance de...
Since now he was speaking in general about the part of racism and the importance, like in the quarter, in the life generally, to have everyone the same opportunity. And now I will just start.
J'étais un petit peu sauvé par mon professeur qui m'a vu dessiner. Dans mon malheur, j'ai eu un pied cassé par une élève, une italienne que je fréquente encore aujourd'hui. Et on m'a apporté un carnet de dessin, des crayons. Quand elle a vu mes dessins, elle m'a pris, elle m'a emmené à l'Académie des Beaux-Arts à Molenbeek. Et là, j'ai trouvé mon univers. J'ai plus raté aucune année.
Ok.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I can.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I thought in the moment he was explaining now the meeting with this teacher that really supported him. And after he is saying, I found my universe. So let's speak about the development of ourselves, of a point to become really part of society, and not, as also you will mention, so also for people maybe that can have fewer opportunity, to have some opportunity more to be integrated in society. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you very much for your work. Okay, and we might proceed with the next interview. So Ikram will now help us, will facilitate the next person. If I'm not mistaken, is a lady.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
First of all, thank you all for all the intervention. So I'm gonna talk about the video of Martina. She's not a migrant. She's from Belgium, and she's 61 years old. She talked about a lot of things. Actually, when she was talking, I felt like she was very nice. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna show part of the video. Okay, here. Here. Can you hear it?
I'm afraid not.
No?
Can you hear from your device?
No. I think because of the Zoom, I can't hear it. Well, I don't know. And now?
Yes, now yes.
Okay, it's from here.
Well, that's at least one moment. Try again, sorry, Ikram. At one moment.
Okay, she's gonna talk about the what the migrant population did at the time of the COVID. Well, here, okay.
No, I'm afraid no.
You can't hear it?
No.
Okay. Well, she said that during this COVID pandemic, she realized that there were a lot of people, migrant people, mostly Moroccan, that helped the community
population and this where she lives. She said that mostly there were migrant people who helped the other people, not the people from Belgium. She said that she realized that how the migrants will more solidarity with during the pandemic than the Belgian people. She also, I mean, the journalist, he asked her if she thinks that during the pandemic there was like more racism or xenophobia or Islamophobia during the pandemic, and she said yes. She said even if in normal times people are racist, they said all the time that they can't find a job because all the Arab people has it. And she said, imagine now because of the pandemic, there are like less jobs, so they are even more racist with people. The journalist asked her about if she knows some migrant people, and she said that she grew up in a village where there were a lot of people, a lot of migrant people, most of them Muslim people, and she said that she learned a lot of things from them. Like usually people think that Islam is it's not a good religion, but in her personal opinion, she said that she thinks that Islam is a big religion and people are afraid of big things. And she also said that her daughter-in-law, she's from Morocco, and she thinks that she's gonna have a niece and he's gonna be half Belgium and half Moroccan. And she said that she thinks that the new Europe, the new generation, are gonna be like that. They're gonna be a lot of mixed people from a lot of nationalities. And she thinks that this is a way to battle racism when there will be a mixed Europe with other nationalities. She also said, the journalist asked her, and he said, who you think it's fault? I mean, why there are a lot of racism in Belgium or in the whole Europe? And she said that the responsibility is for the politicians. I mean, that the politicians are there to change the world and make good rules for all one and to battle racism. So if there is any racism in Belgium, it's because of the politicians and the bad politics that they have. Okay, I have a word here of what she said. Okay, she also spoke about how people trade.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile you speak, would you mind put full screen the interview and let it go just to see the lady? Okay, and sorry for interrupting. Okay.
You can't hear the video?
I'm so sorry, not.
No.
I don't know why, but it seems not. Can you put the last part, because in the last part also there is the visual. Okay, and tell us, please.
Yeah. Here. So you can't hear it, right? No. Okay. He asked her if you could say just one sentence about how she feels about migrant people, and she said le vivre ensemble. That means like live together. And she said that neither migrants or non-migrants has something to give to the other. So she was talking about how migrant people can share everything they know with the others, and by this way we can make a more multicultural life for everyone. I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, in fact, I think it's something what. Can you repeat the name of the lady, please?
Martina.
Martina, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what Mrs. Martina
She
said,
works as a driver, taxi driver at the airport.
Okay, it's in fact reflects very much the main analysis offered by the research in the way that again migrants were really in many countries were really much involved in the healthcare system.
Yeah.
So yeah,
she said that in the video she said that because Esmeralda said that here people because of the vaccine of the COVID, she said that migrants don't have the right to the vaccine or something like that. I remember I just want to say something about here in Spain. Migrants and Spanish people have the same right to the vaccine. I mean, if you are between the age of people who had the vaccine, they call you and you go and have your vaccine, even if they are illegal. I don't know if the situation is not the same in Italy or Turkey, but in Spain here, it's not that way.
Yeah, actually, I think in Italy, migrants are left last. But even if let me share, because I was also checking in the data about Italy. On the bottom of my screen, I will translate. In the Center for Asylum Seeker, there were 402 cases, over thousands of people hosted. So from people coming from people coming from especially Northern African countries or Central African countries as asylum seeker, the 4.2% of them under the first wave were affected, but the percentage at the bottom of my screen you might see una percentuale in linea con la media italiana. So the percentage was very much in line with the average of the autochthonous Italian population. So even that was very much manipulated and by the populist far right parties, you know, as the asylum seeker, the refugees, they are spreading the COVID, they are bringing the COVID in our countries. For example, I found in the case of Italy that was not true at all. Actually, the percentage was slightly lower from the asylum seeker than in the autochthonous population. Just to mention a specific category of migrant, okay, related to the asylum seekers, and many other research. I mean, you will find tons in Google showed the same. So there is no scientific validation that the migrants are more infected, or that they are more responsible for spreading. In fact, what we can say is that in many cases they are much more exposed to the virus, and then they come last when having the right to receive the vaccination. But that was, that pandemic was a very good opportunity for far-right parties, you know, to fuel some xenophobia, point the fingers, and find the scapegoat to blame for what was going on. Also, because to escape, let's say, the many problems that many health care systems were facing, and also blaming the migrants often was the easy way out for many parties. Okay, I would like now to open a bit more the discussion. Also, some of our participants, I know that would like to share a bit. So if possible, to offer some counter narrative, if they have some thoughts, analysis, data that they would like to share. Is it true? So we ask our participants, is it true that migrants are more responsible, are the ones to blame in terms of spreading the COVID, or not? So if Francesca, Tamara, Lorenzo, Lavinia, take the floor, please.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we know that COVID has a different impact according to the country we are talking about, but also among people that live in one country. I would like to add something more to our discussion. I don't want to bite off more than we can chew, but also I read something about the the travelers and the Roma communities, so how they were affected, how they were subjected to discrimination and hate speech. So it was interesting for, yes, of course, for as also you said at the beginning, Jacopo, they were subjected to this discrimination because we were also taken as a scapegoat. But so it's also interesting for the same, let's say, destiny that they have during the pandemic, and also for the, let's say, result of this reasoning. So especially here, I'm referring to the documents published by the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights. So after I can also share on the chat what I've found. And mainly they refer to the Roma and travelers that live in marginalized settings. So with the COVID, they had less access to basic rights. There were healthcare assistance, social assistance, and social security and assistance, sorry, and housing. And especially on social media, they were portrayed as the one responsible of the spreading of the virus. One thing that also is interesting, that also to mention Ikram, that in the explanation of the interview, Amnesty International found that in Bulgaria and Slovakia were mainly the politicians to spread or to fuel this hate speech. And in Bulgaria, Hungary, Romania, and Slovakia, social media start, or like media in general, TV news, start saying that the Roma people, workers, they were coming back from countries where the cases were higher. So they were taking home the virus. This was strategies to somehow, let's say, justify the presence of the virus inside the country, and at the same time to have a scapegoat, to have someone to blame. At the end of all this discussion and hate speech and discrimination, is interesting that the European Agency for Fundamental Rights, the short name is FRA, found that this discrimination could be also somehow lessened if also the member state of European Union would implement certain measures, or like the invitation, the recommendation from the European Commission to work towards the inclusion of these, let's say, vulnerable categories, because in this case, they had also less access to healthcare and also to information. Yes, so also apart from the implementation of these measures, the report found that it's, let's say, that the authorities, the local authorities, played a role in the spreading or in this hate speech, in this hatred narrative. So from their side, they could have helped the community through the support, from active support of Roma and Roma people and travelers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca, for this very interesting analysis. And I will kindly ask if you may share your source in the chat. So it might be interesting. Can you mention again what was the agency that was displaying those data you mentioned at the beginning?
Yes, is European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights. Now I will share the documents that I found, 3 documents on the chat.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Also, in the meanwhile, I shared in the chat the links of the interviews. So if you would like also to have a look after the session, in case you might understand French language, might be very much interesting. Thank you once again, Francesca. We might proceed if there are other contributions from our participants. Maybe Lorenzo wants to share some. Please, yes. But we can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So since the start of the COVID, we have seen significantly increases of the racism episodes in Italy also against the Asian community. So actually it was effect of the xenophobia, which is the fear of Chinese people, or more in general people with the Asian somatic traits. Also, we have seen many aggression taking place in the center and the north of Italy against Chinese people, or discrimination in public places such as markets. I mean, those activities that were open during the COVID pandemic lockdown. And the two more important I found was one was in Rome, and there was a place showing a cardboard where was written that entrance was not allowed to Chinese people or because of security reasons, which is something that I really don't like. I totally not agree with this. And also another one was in Milan. There were many aggressions against the Chinese community. They were accused to be the cause of Italian COVID, and they were abused and verbal abused. There were aggressive behaviors against them. And so, yeah, in Italy, there was a reaction against the Asian community, let's say, that was not the best one. Also, you can see all around Europe, these facts were happening. That's what I found mostly about Italy.
Thank you so much. Yes, in fact, I was reading some from Eurostat, some data. They were measuring this level of discrimination, raise of episode of violence, and the Asian community was the most targeted. That almost everywhere, because we know that the pandemic started in China, and so because it was started there, so the Asian community was really the most targeted. And after the Asian people from Central Africa were very much targeted. And in the case of Belgium, as I mentioned before, the Turkish community also suffered a lot for this, for this fueling of prejudices towards them, despite the fact that, again, the Turkish community is based in Belgium since a long time. It's not, a new phenomenon. It's people who are living then since many years. So please.
Yeah, also something I was reading about before, it was about the migrants and the affliction, l'afflusso of migrants.
The flows
of migrants coming through Italy from the African side. Also there was an increase of the level increase of racism against those people, which were also accused of bringing the COVID to Italy. And even if the levels of migrants during these years is decreasing in Italy, there still is many people doing hate speech against these people.
Community.
Against the migrants. And so, we can say that this COVID made Italy a more racist country than it was before. And it's something that I really feel sad about, because I'm Italian and I really don't like to read these kind of things about my country.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo. Yeah, unfortunately, it affected a bit all over the world. As I say, if you check a little bit in, if you check data from agencies, or if you just Google it, you'll find that it's really worldwide. The increase the rates of racism and xenophobia after the pandemic. So pandemic related, it's really something that affected worldwide, unfortunately. Okay, I guess there will be, before we close, we are going to the conclusion of the session, but there are still some contribution. I think Mustafa would like to share.
Yeah, Jacopo. I wanted to say, and also in a way support a little bit the argument that Francesca mentioned before. So in my perspective, every country had a story, or it was forced in a way to share a story of how the pandemic started. For example, in Macedonia, there was this story that the doctor who traveled for consulting or being in a symposium of doctors, that how this pandemic started. So when she came back, she infected the other doctors. So thereby, that was the way how the pandemic started in Macedonia. On the other side, if we see Turkey, there was also another story of how the pandemic started. So that's really funny, and it's silly in a way when you see these stories, as if it was not possible the pandemic to have been present even before those stories were on the media, so in the news channels. Like that's my perspective. And media has affected and spurred a lot this kind of racist things. So everyone has got an idea of how the pandemic started, but we don't know even clearly what was happening, because after that there were a lot of news that were telling, oh, the pandemic might have been present in our country even from December. So it's really controversial, so it's not clear yet. Anyways, in Macedonia, that was one of the most ugly behaviors that you could see ever, because one person with his own phone was recording some people, Asian people, but from Korea, who were just tourists in the capital city of Macedonia. So he was recording that video and saying to them, go back to China. I think he was saying also in Macedonian and in English as well. And that was really, really ugly behavior to see. And what else I wanted also to share from two of my friends with Chinese roots, but from France. They were raised and born in France. They were telling that they have experienced many cases of racism before pandemic as well, but with the pandemic much more, even though they were raised and born in France. So that's, I don't know, that's a lot.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. Thanks a lot for sharing. And I think some of us here, we are migrants. Some of us are living abroad. We are not in the country where we were born. So I don't know if also there is anyone who would like to share. Have you faced more? I think Gabriele would like to share, like since the starting of the pandemic, especially, have you faced more discrimination or more somehow barriers? What changed? Okay, Gabri, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I want to make a brief intervention, and I will connect again to a part that I explained also before in the interview about the fact of the fear, the racism sometimes as an effect of a fear of something that we don't know of, so as a result of something else. And I will mention something personal. I came to live in Turkey 2 months before the starting of the pandemic, and I noticed when the people was asking me, where are you from? Everyone was super happy. Italy, oh wow, Italy. And this is, I'm happy to say, it's happening again. But when it started the pandemic, and in the beginning, Italy was the first country that exploded, and everyone was speaking about Italy. for coronavirus, I noticed that the people was, when they were asking, where are you from? And I was saying Italy, their face was changed, was different from before. They were not saying anymore, oh, wow, really nice from Italy. And so in that moment, I started, instead of saying I'm from Italy, I was saying I'm from Italy, but I came in Turkey before the pandemic. This was the sentence. I was not anymore Gabriele the Italian, but Gabriele the Italian that came to live here before the pandemic. So this is something interesting actually, because look, sometimes some little details, something like this, like the attack that we had also in Italy and in all the world, sometimes is the fear. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabri. And yeah, I also agree, let's say, with your experience. I'm also Italian, and also many of my Italian friends and colleagues who lives in Belgium, they also report the same, because Italy was probably the most infected country in Europe, at least during the first wave. So yeah, even in Belgium, they really reported a change in terms of interactions with the autochthonous population, despite the fact that, I don't know, some of my friends live there since 10 years, maybe, so it's really unjustified, let's say, it's an unjustified fear. That's it. I mean, not because it's not important, the precaution, but because it's not related to the country of origin of the person. So it's not related to the fact of being a migrant. So the precautions shall be, in general for everyone, but in fact, for some migrants, for some community, the people were much more afraid. And again, as we said, due to certain manipulation at political level and so on, also sometimes were very much targeted, were very much blamed for bringing the virus in the country and so on. I mean, as we know, I mean, the virus spread all over the world, no matter what. Is not again, it's not that some migrants brought the virus. Okay, thank you so much for everyone. I don't know if there is any last contribution anyone else would like to share. If not, we are reaching an end. Okay, then thank you so much once again for taking part. Thank you so much to our moderators. Thank you so much to System and Generation International Association for hosting us. We have Mr. Gulkan Akçar and Necdet Salam that they are the founders of the associations. We thank them for hosting us in this event. And I will invite you. We will have a second session for this cycle. It will be in 2 weeks. So you are very much warmly welcome to take part in the second session on the 24th of June of this month. And we will discuss a bit more on this topic. We will have other analysis and interviews. So thank you once again, and have a very nice evening.
Thanks to Analin Foundation. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.